Not Jim Owen, but Jim Molan. They're both jokes. But anyway, what a joke. We will have to fight for our very existence. Jim Molan. You know, that other Molan, Molan. Her dad. John Anderson Media. John Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Former Governor General, I do believe, wasn't he? Anywho.
If wars are true? Undoubtedly. But the vast majority of the population have never even considered that particular issue. The vast majority of the younger population haven't looked at warfare apart from the myths and legends that we have in relation to Anzac. This is the Australian population. But I still don't believe there is a belief that we will have to fight for our very existence again. And let's hope we never do. The one thing that struck me in Iraq was, apart from the fact that a lot of people died and on occasions I contributed to it or I saw the end results of it, what struck me was the destruction of a society. And as soon as you take away the props of our society, and we're in the middle of Sydney here, and I look out and I see the props of our society, the energy, the transportation, the accommodation, as soon as you take that away, our societies collapse very, very fast. We're seeing that in the southern Philippines. We're seeing it in many countries in Africa at the moment. I certainly saw it in Iraq. And the pressures that you put on people, we're seeing it in Syria, where 5 million people have been displaced, 500,000 have been killed. And this is a civil war, an appalling civil war. The lesson it teaches me is that strength deters, and weakness provokes. So we've people sometimes talk disparagingly about a nuclear deterrent. Well, it's worked so far. Let's hope it's working for a long, long time. But underneath nuclear deterrence, you certainly have conventional force deterrence. But military force in relation to a country which is finally called on to defend what it is for the good reasons that it may wish to defend those, has got much more to do with society than it's got to do with the military. The resilience of the society, the ability of the society, the governing ability of the society is really what it's all about. And you made the good point before that Australian military history is not replete with Australians commanding campaigns. We have a history of sending our forces, magnificent though they be, to support other countries who have control of the wars and the campaigns. And I think this is what we really need to develop. The vast majority of Australians must continue the beautiful existence we have in this magnificent country. That's what a good defence force must provide to the country. But there must be those who study war and the leadership of our country, because you in this beautiful society you can't interest people in a fight for national survival. It's all about going
unless it becomes a threat.
Unless it's visible to every member of the society, then it's different.
Listen to the sales pitch. Listen to the sales pitch. It's a sales pitch, people. See it for what it is. See it for what it is. A manufacture of consent. Trying to dress things up as if it's something that has to happen. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. We'll get into this in a minute, but I just had to pause it because it actually makes me fucking angry listening to these cunts. I can't stand this fucking Jim Molan. He's a fucking traitor. He's a traitor to mankind as far as I'm concerned. Good thing he's dead. Well, I don't usually say that real easy, but it's a good thing that he's not still around. But then again, look, his daughter's filling his shoes quite nicely, isn't she, with the fucking Zionist Jew bullshit in our Christian country. Let's not get shit twisted. They're talking about religion. I don't. I'll explain that in a minute.
Frank. Yeah. But and that's a very important word, isn't it? Because You and I think, would say, actually, it is under threat, but it's not visible enough yet.
Correct.
So people haven't caught on. They need
That's
to catch
correct.
on. That's partly why we're talking now.
And I think the government, when they're talking about foreign influence, when they're talking about encryption, when they're talking about cyber legislation and cyber protection, when we're talking about spreading our economic dependence across the world, then the realisation is starting.
I think that's right.
Yeah. And I think, but I still think this is the biggest leadership challenge that government faces. Governments show, and you know better than I'll ever know, governments must show leadership all the time, particularly on things that people don't see.
Very interesting. That there's a very big.
Right, whatever, blah, 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 Marion. Well, how much of it's left? It's nearly done. Right, leadership. Okay. Now, there was a time when a king, a queen, whatever, would lead their country into battle. Literally, get out on the battlefield and lead in the battle. There was a time when a leader would tighten their belt with the rest of the country. That don't happen, does it? There was a time when a leader would lead by example, not with their words, and then give himself a pay rise. As people starve, these serfs gorge their faces.
Issue here that has to be opened up, and we can't spend much time on it now, but it's an important one to me. Man's inhumanity to man. How on earth one human being can ever justify in their minds what some of these frightful people do on the battlefield? The way in which they're prepared to...
Right. Done with that. Right. They can't, John Anderson. They can't justify it in their minds. They switch their minds off. Why? They're sent there, like it or not. There's nothing fucking... Nobody wants to go to another country and commit murder. It's not defence whatsoever. It's pillage and plunder in a campaign of imperialisation. It's the Roman Empire that never really fell. It just spread all over the world and in little spot fires and smouldered away, and now we have Planet Roman Empire under a different name. It just rebranded as the United States of Israel. It just makes me so fucking angry because I see straight through the sales pitch. I see straight through it and it pisses me off. Nowhere in the Bible does it say man should have dominion over another man, but yet government has dominion over its citizens, if you want to be one of them fucking idiots. John Anderson, how right you are. And Jim Molan, you were so right also. But who did it? We're talking about Iraq. Who did it? We did. We followed the United States of Israel into every pillage and plunder of not just resources and dirt, but also their sovereignty in the name of God and country, without even consulting God or making him privy to the plot. People suffer and commit murder in other countries, and you call it defence. The Bible does not say thou shalt not kill. It says thou shalt not do murder. Sending someone to another country to kill somebody else is blatant murder by another name. There is no such thing as religion, only an ideal created by the commandments of men taught as doctrine. I'm getting biblical. I'm getting Christ here. I'm getting Christ-like, not religious. The politics of religion and the religion of politics. We can't walk in Christ and practice religion at the same time, just like we can't be loyal to two countries at the same time, because it is impossible to serve two masters without turning on one of them. This is not radical Islam, or radical Muslims, or radical Christians. This is Zionist science of multiculturalism to manufacture consent through social engineering. Some, not many, but some of us see it for what it is. The reset to maintain the permanent order of hierarchy in a new world. That's the meaning of the New World Order, people. Reset of beliefs, religion, population, knowledge and economic strategy. It's been the status quo for 2,000 years in 2033. 2,000 years since the birth of Christ, give or take a couple of Julianic Gregorian calendar manipulations. You know, that man the Romans changed the name of, as Hebrew and Aramaic has no letter J or vowels, and nailed to a pole 300 years before the advent of crucifixion in Greece. See, they fucked everything up. They manipulated everything. They changed everything and created a religion. Christ came here to put an end to religions. They nailed him to a pole and started all over again. The very same man who tried to tell the people that to have heaven on earth, all we need do is walk away from your system en masse and obey God's law, the universal law of love for your brethren, and everything fixes itself. Learn the Lord's Prayer properly. Your daily bread is knowledge and wisdom of Christ, not food. On earth as it is in heaven means heaven on earth. Forgive one another, but not the sins, trespasses and debts themselves, so that we can forgive ourselves and move on in peace. It's actually quite logical and simple. And it works. It works in families. You don't forgive the actions, but in order for someone to heal, they must be forgiven. Christ warned the people against the Pharisees and their false teachings, and here we are yet again, fighting fire with fire to watch the whole world burn, when we could just be like water and let the fire burn itself out. Government only has the relevance and validity we allow it to have by engaging with it. It offers us empty promises and broken dreams in return for our very lives. As Geronimo, the Native American Indian, would say, white men speak with forked tongue like a serpent and make false trade, then call us Indian givers. George Orwell was so right about Winston's plight. The surveillance state was just a means of making sure nobody was spreading knowledge. 1984 wasn't about cameras. They were just a tool. Without knowledge of relevant history and full comprehensiveness of the written word and literature and its multiple English dialectics, we are nothing more than meat wagon drones, aware of our lobotomisation, but no way to acknowledge or express it. We are in the middle of a PSYOP's inception. A PSYOP within a PSYOP, or as I like to put it, pointing out the obvious elephant in the room to disguise the sleep paralysis demon under our beds. Wake up, people. The blue pill is just another route to the same place the red pill takes you. Stop engaging. Stop going to rallies and protests. That's how you give them permission to create more legislations. The right to assemble, the right to free speech and all that, you're giving them the right to trample all over it by running around like fucking idiots. Gobbing off at one another, fighting with one another. More fragmentation and more fragmentation of mankind. This has got nothing to do with who's from where or their religions. It's the fragmentation of mankind so that we all fight amongst ourselves, and then they can reset the population. The Great Reset. Obviously, the United States of Israel is the whole data system for the Great Reset, the New World Order, whatever you want to call it. Ukraine is the breadbasket. The current nation states of the biblical Philistines and Venezuela, well, they're to be the fossil fuel energy. Australia has 31% of the world's uranium. That's, if you look at it on a pie chart compared to what everyone else has got, and they're in the 5s and 8s, 12s. I think 12's about the maximum anyone's got. We've got 31%. We have almost half of the pie chart. That just makes us a battery. If you don't think that they're creating a proxy war in Australia, then you're not only blind in one eye, you can't see out the other, and you're being led by the visually impaired. It's time to wake up, people. Really wake up properly. You're stuck in the middle of a psyop within a psyop. It's what they call inception, a dream within a dream. You woke up from one dream, you're still stuck in another one. While they fiddle around with your mind.